There is a cardinal at your feeder right now, who has been watching you for months. Not casually, not the way you watch a stranger pass by on the street, the way you watch someone you have decided something about. Every morning, when you walk outside, that bird makes a calculation about you, and somewhere along the way, without you knowing it, you started failing that calculation. Not because you don't care, but because nobody told you what the bird was actually seeing. There are things happening in your yard every single day, things you do, with the best intentions, that the birds you love are signaling distress about in measurable, documented, peer-reviewed ways. Alarm calls, flush behavior, feeder abandonment. The science has been there for 30 years. Tonight, you are going to hear it. If you have a feeder, a window, a cat, or a pair of gardening shoes, at least 3 of these apply to you right now. Subscribe before you keep going, because by the time we are done, the bird at your feeder tomorrow morning is going to look completely different to you. The first thing happened this morning. Before you even got to the feeder, you walked outside in a red shirt. In 2014, a research team tested how flush distance, the distance at which a bird flies away from an approaching human, changed based on clothing color. Birds allowed humans wearing soft greens and muted blues to get significantly closer. Humans wearing red, orange, or bright yellow triggered flight from much further away. The reason is not aesthetic, it is neurological. Bright, high-contrast colors register in a bird's visual system as the warning palette of predators, hawks, foxes, threats that move fast and mean harm. Bird vision extends into the ultraviolet spectrum, which means colors look more vivid and more saturated to them than they do to you. The bird at your feeder does not see a person in a red sweatshirt. It sees a moving threat signal at full volume. Every morning, you walk outside in the wrong colors. You spend down a little of the trust that Cardinal has been building with you, and it has been building it carefully, over months, based on everything you do. There is something else in your yard that the birds have already made a decision about. Your cat. In 2013, researchers published a study in Nature Communications estimating that free-ranging domestic cats kill between 1.3 and 4 billion birds every year in the United States. The most cited figure is 2.4 billion. 2 of every 3 of those birds are native species. Your cat does not need to be hungry to kill. Cats kill for instinct, for play, for practice. Even well-fed indoor-outdoor cats kill multiple birds per week during peak season. The birds in your yard know. They have specific alarm calls reserved for ground predators. They reduce time at feeders when cats are present. They abandon nesting sites within 50 feet of a yard where a cat regularly moves. The cardinal that comes every morning has mapped your yard completely. It knows where the cover is. It knows the sightlines. It knows where the threat comes from. If your cat is part of that map, the cardinal is always calculating an exit strategy. It is never fully at rest. It is never fully trusting you. You probably know which windows in your house are the problem. You have walked past them. You have noticed the way they reflect the sky, the trees, the open space beyond your yard. They look like passage. They look like somewhere to go. Between 365 million and nearly 1 billion birds die every year from window collisions in the United States. 44% of those deaths happen at residential homes, not skyscrapers, houses, exactly like yours. The bird does not see glass. It sees the reflection of a safe world and flies toward it. Many die instantly. Many fly away concussed and die hours later in dense cover, which is why you never find them. There are 2 windows in your house right now contributing to this. The fix is inexpensive. External decals spaced no more than 2 inches apart vertically, 4 inches horizontally, strings hung in front of the glass, external screens or films. If you have not marked a single window, your yard is contributing measurable mortality to the birds you love every single year. They are not disappearing. They are dying within a few hundred feet of your feeder, in the places you never look. Something happens every spring in yards across America that most people never think about. Someone picks up a hedge trimmer In July, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act has protected native birds and their nests during active breeding season since 1918. Carolina wrens nesting in hanging baskets, robins on porch ledges, catbirds in dense shrubs, mourning doves beside a planter you have had for years. The nests are specifically built to be invisible. You will not see them until you are already inside them. But the parent birds see you coming. They call alarm. They abandon. Eggs cool and die. Nestlings starve. The fix is to do all major trimming between late September and early March. If you must work in spring, part the branches first. Look before you cut. A Carolina wren has nested in a coiled garden hose, in a hanging boot by a back door, in a barbecue cover left out too long. They are not asking for much. They are asking you to look. There is something you put in the feeder last week that the birds cannot use. Bread, cheap mixed seed, salted nuts, the bag that was on sale. Bread has almost no nutritional value for songbirds and fills their stomachs with empty filler. Cheap seed mixes are dominated by milo and cracked corn that most North American songbirds will not eat. They scatter it aggressively, searching for the few sunflower seeds underneath, wasting most of the bag and attracting house sparrows instead of the birds you actually want. Dirty feeders are worse. The 2021 pine siskin salmonella outbreak that killed thousands of birds across the western United States spread directly through unclean feeders. The fix is straightforward. Black oil sunflower for general feeders, Niger for finches, suet for woodpeckers. Clean every feeder every 2 weeks with a 10% bleach solution. Take feeders down for 2 weeks if you see a visibly sick bird. The cardinal at your feeder has been eating whatever you put out. It has no choice. It came back because your yard is part of its territory, not because what you offered was good for it. You can change that this week, this morning. Before the birds came back to your feeder, something in your yard drove them away. It might have been the leaf blower, the power washer, the wind chimes you hung because you liked the sound. A 2011 study showed that birds exposed to chronic background noise reduced nest success, abandoned territory at higher rates, and shifted vocal frequencies to compensate. A leaf blower running for 30 minutes drives every songbird out of a quarter-acre yard for hours afterward. The wind chimes, the ones that feel peaceful to you, overlap directly with many songbird alarm and contact calls. When your chimes are active, the birds in your yard cannot hear each other clearly. They reduce vocal communication. They reduce feeder use. They are less able to warn each other about actual threats. The yard that feels serene to you is a sensory emergency to them. The last one is the hardest to change because it requires you to think about how your body moves. The way you walk toward a feeder matters. A direct line approach toward a bird triggers flush behavior. A direct gaze locked on a specific bird triggers it even faster. Birds interpret eye contact from large mammals as predatory targeting because that is exactly what hawks and foxes do in the moments before an attack. The fix takes practice. Approach feeders at oblique angles. Move at a steady, slow pace. Stop and start mimics a stalking predator. Look slightly past a bird instead of directly at it. Do not lift a camera to your face suddenly, because the hand-to-face movement mimics a strike posture. Birds can be trained over weeks to tolerate a human within a few feet, but only if that human moves, like something that is not hunting them. The cardinal at your feeder has been learning you. Since the first morning it saw you, it has filed away every approach, every sudden movement, every color you wore. It has been running a continuous assessment of whether you are safe. You did not know you were being evaluated. Now you do. The birds in your yard cannot speak, but they have been signaling every single day in calls and postures and flight, distances that have been measured and published and confirmed by researchers who spent careers listening to what you have been walking past. They are asking you to bring the cat inside, mark the windows, wait until September to trim, wear the quiet colors, clean the feeder, put down the blower, slow down when you walk toward them. Most people will not change a single thing, but the few who do will notice something within a few weeks. The birds get closer. They stay longer. They keep feeding when you walk outside instead of flushing the moment they see you. That cardinal at your feeder tomorrow morning has been offering you something this whole time, a relationship built on what you do when you think no one important is watching. It has been watching the whole time. Tell me in the comments, which of these were you doing without knowing it was a problem? And which one are you going to change this week? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.